This is Christina Lennon, and today we're going to be talking about thinking strategically. I don't know where you live, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and driving anywhere if I want to get on time means I must be strategic. I am so thankful for the app Waze and Google Maps that help me determine the most efficient way to get someplace any time of day. Typically, I never use the same route twice. It's always a different route for a different time. So, just like driving in Atlanta, running a nonprofit requires strategy if you want to get to where you want to go on time. And that means that at different points of time, you might take a different route. It's not one size fits all. Your planning needs to be customized to your organization, the point in time that you're doing the planning, and the people that are involved. All those things come together in a unique way that's best for you. What are the three parts of strategic planning? Well, first, it's to confirm ACPE's principles, your mission, your vision, and your values. Second is to set direction and goals to meet that mission, to further that mission. And third is the implementation, to create an action plan and timelines and to determine what the resources are that are needed for the goals that you set. So, since the mission statement is always the most important thing, I thought this might be a good opportunity to review it. Now, ACPE just finished a strategic plan in which this mission statement was affirmed. It is to positively affect people's lives by nurturing connections to the sacred through experiential education and spiritual care. Why do you do a strategic plan? Well, one of the reasons you do a strategic plan and think strategically is so that you'll know when to say yes and you'll know when to say no. Strategic plans are usually done every 3 to 5 years. And in between those times, different opportunities arise. The plan will help you be intentional as you respond to those opportunities and avoid mission creep, which is a concept we covered during the first webinar. The goals of the strategic plan will allow you to know when you want to say yes or when you want to decline an opportunity. It'll help you stay the course in advancing the mission in the time frame that you want to. Now, when doing strategic planning, the process is just as important as the product. It needs to be tailored to your needs at the moment. It needs to be a living document, not something that you just put in a drawer, but something that needs to be visited consistently. And that's because the process of creating the plan and the process of reviewing the plan and the goals, looking at your progress, is an opportunity for you to unify and engage your board. It also energizes your board about the possibilities for the future. So the process of looking at all of that really brings the board together to think what is possible and set those big goals that create energy. The other big benefit is that it engages your stakeholders and the overall community in your work. So as you create a strategic plan, you'll go out and talk to folks outside the organization that you work with or the broader body of your organization, the broader constituents, get their ideas and opinions, and that engages them in the future success of your organization. And so it's a really great way to build those relationships. So think about the process and don't shortchange it. This is not a 5 people come together in a room and over 3 hours hash out something that we can call a strategic plan. This is a coming together and a real thoughtful, engaging process. Now, as you do this, one of the really wonderful byproducts of this is it helps people who may be fearful or resistant to change. So we know nobody really likes change, It's uncomfortable and it's sometimes scary. But as we do the strategic plan and we really think about all the options and all the possibilities, it takes a lot of the fear of trying new things out of the equation. That's a really important reason to do strategic planning. It doesn't eliminate the risks the organization encounters from trying something new, but it does help you decide and prioritize what risks are the right ones for you to take in the coming weeks and months to stay on target in meeting those strategic goals. It also helps you prioritize. So every nonprofit that I know of anyway has limited resources, either in finances or time or staffing. Um, so this goal setting process helps you prioritize what's most important, and therefore you're not chasing um, different things. You're not going down the line of mission creep, and it allows you to be more efficient because you're all on the same page. You're all heading towards the same goal, and that goal is very clearly mapped out. So you choose a few big objectives and build out a plan to show measurable progress within the time frame that you set. Really helps you to stay on course. As you, as a board, have strategic discussions, either in creating a strategic plan or creating an annual work plan to match your strategic goals, here are some questions that would be good to ask. Where are we now? Every year, I think it's a good idea to do a SWOT analysis where you look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What's going on um, at this point in time, and how do we work our strategic goals around that? What are the external trends? So someone wise told me once that the rate of internal change for the organization needs to be the same or greater than the rate of external change in order for the organization to grow and thrive. What are your options? Putting all of your options on the table sometimes helps you to discover some new ones. What are your priorities and how will you prioritize? So what's the basis for something getting to the top of your list? Is it that it would be something easy to do, low-hanging fruit, or is it something that you believe would make a huge stride in moving your organization forward but would be a very difficult, challenging task? How are you going to prioritize what gets done next? And why is this important? Why is meeting these goals important? One of my favorite questions is, what's preventing us from doing this today? That really highlights the challenges that you're going to face in being successful. And by looking at that, maybe you can cut some of those off before they even become challenges. You'll certainly be able to put together a resource list that is needed to make that goal happen. And comparing that list of what you need to make the goal a reality with what you have is also very important. What are your resources? And I don't just mean money. What kind of partners do you have? What knowledge base do you have? How much time do you have? All of those things would be resources. And then defining success, making sure that the entire board agrees on what the definition of success looks like. And then an action plan for success. What do you need to happen in order to be successful? And who needs to be involved? Is this a committee project? Is this a staff project? Will this require leadership or expertise that you currently don't have on the board and need to go out and recruit? Who needs to be involved? And then, of course, what's the timeline? How long is this going to take? And what are going to be our incremental goals that along the way where we know that we're being successful, or we can check in on our progress? So those are all really good questions to ask as you think about your strategic goals and the action plans that will support. Now, best practices in having a strategic planning session or doing strategy work would be affirming the mission and always making it the very center of your planning. Make sure that you have a strategic planning process every 3 to 5 years. Review the progress on your plan every year so your CEO and board chair will be in charge of creating the agenda for your board meetings and setting time aside for reviewing that on an annual basis and having some review of that in each board meeting. Creating an annual work plan that would be based on the strategic goals of your strategic plan, and evaluating the process and your role as a board every 2 to 3 years. So, stepping back and saying, what's our process look like? And is it still the right process for this point in time, for this organization, for the people that are involved? Because again, the process is just as important as the product. And then also doing some self-board evaluation where you look at how you operate as a board and what you're bringing to the table and see if there's any ways to improve, and also any folks that need to be at the table and currently aren't. So if you want to do some more research or studying on this topic, The Strategic Drucker is a book I would recommend, as well as the website boardsource.org. Those are the two inspirations for me and sources for me as I prepared this presentation. Thank you very much for joining me. Bye-bye.